everybody healthy? We didn't say Knee-Knee-Joff. Is he the only one who's out?
Yeah, he's we would call him. I think he's day to day. Otherwise, I'm trying to think. Pashnik wasn't out there today. Another guy's day to day. He should be ready to go in the next few days.
How was the overall mood among everybody today?
Actually, it was good. We started with the team meeting last night or yesterday afternoon at SAP, and I sort of kicked it off with some opening remarks. The testing went well. And I thought we came today. We worked hard. I thought everybody was very attentive, and we had a video session. We went out and we executed in practice. I just thought that everybody felt good about where we're at. We talked about that last night, having maybe a team that we feel maybe didn't fulfill what we wanted to do last year, and have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder and come back with that kind of an attitude.
Did you address the team as where things stand for Boughner?
No, we did not talk about that. I think the team made a statement yesterday, and I think everybody's aware of that. Players are aware of that, and I've asked guys to focus what's in our control right now. We had three main areas of focus, and number one being establishing our foundation and our system play, and two, our work ethic compete, and three, details of our game, and that's really what we're concentrating on, and that was the message last night to the players about. We've had some controversy and we've had some adversity over the last couple of years, and I think we're going to be on the good side of that. And I like the additions that we made this summer. I think we're a deeper team. I think we addressed some weaknesses that we had, and I think we feel now. We look at our roster. I think we feel now that we're a team that's going to be able to compete with anybody on any given night, and that was sort of the message that we sent last night, yesterday afternoon. Well, I mean, from a coaching standpoint, I think obviously you never want any distractions. You want to be able to focus on the task at hand. But again, it's not something that we're, I think we've learned from the past where you start to, you start sitting in your own stuff, and that stuff it brews. And I think we need to just focus on training camp and preseason, and being appreciative of the fact that we're here at home. Compared to 8-9 months ago when we started in Scottsdale, and we never knew when we were going to be at home. So this is, I think, just the difference in how we're approaching the year and what the situations are. I think it's going to be a huge change for us, and I could just see the guys' faces compared to last year. It was just everybody was walking around, and there's a lot of unknowns, and it's nice to be back and be in our own building and know exactly what our schedule is.
Do you expect Evander Kane to play this year for the Sharks?
I can't answer that. I don't know. There's an investigation going on. Who knows what the results of that investigation are going to be. I respect that process, but I wish I did have an answer. I don't.
How does that uncertainty challenge the way you try to lay the foundation during training camp as you prepare for the season?
Well, I think the one thing is I think regardless of the Kaner situation, I think that we have a lot of young guys that are going to get opportunities. And I watched these guys development camp. I watched them in Scottsdale last weekend. We're deeper. We're deeper than we were ever before with our young players. So for me, that's a signal to everybody that there's an opportunity here. Who knows what's going to happen with the investigation? But we need 23. We need 23 players, and that was another message last night that. You look at the Mario Ferraros of the world, the Nishoffs last year. There's always room. Someone knocks that door down, and so I'm anxious to see the next few days, but more importantly, when the games start here in another few days.
Were there times last year where Evander could have been a better teammate, and does there have to be any sort of reestablishment of team rules and expectations for everyone?
Well, I think we did talk a lot about culture last year, and there was definitely some improvements in a lot of areas. I think that. As a team, we might have not handled it great sometimes, and I don't mean that as as players or whatever. I just mean us as a whole. I think that that was a message last night. Adversity, I think, it develops character and develops a closeness, and I think that might be to our advantage. We might be able to use that as a weapon moving forward. I think that we learned a lot about ourselves in the last year, and there is definitely a culture that we hold ourselves accountable to, and a standard how we want to act as a team and a family. And when we got away from that last year, I said this in my remarks last night. You can see it on their faces, you can see it in practice, you can see it in a game, and you can see it ultimately on the scoreboard. And that's a non-negotiable, and we got to make sure that going forward, it's my job, it's the organization's job, that we hold everybody to a certain standard, and not let that slip one day.
Is it easier to do that without Evander in the room?
I don't know about that. I think, again, this is a separate issue, an investigation, things like that. I think that, I guess I can talk about that when the time comes and see what the decision is going to be made. But right now, I'm really just focused on what we have and what we're dealing with. And like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited for the additions we made. I'm excited for our young guys. And I'm excited just to be home and having a normal training camp.
Who are you excited about in terms of filling that, I guess, possible scoring pool?
Well, there's so many options. I know that some guys that played the Barracuda last year are going to get some opportunity. I see some guys they brought in, some young guys. Darlene's a signing they made. Weatherby's a guy that's shown well in the rookie tournaments. I think that you got a lot of guys in that situation. Johnny Leonard coming back has got to prove himself. Noah Gregor, all these guys. I think it's easy to forget we added probably 5-6 new faces at the beginning of last year that now are veterans coming back. And I saw it already today. Some of these guys, that you could see the confidence, you could see they're just feeling good about themselves, and I think that's going to help us instantly when we start these preseason games. I think you have that year, even though somewhat it went well for some guys, it didn't go well for some other guys. I think just having that year of experience is going to make them that much better.
You guys have vaccination for players.
As far as I know, I think that we're all in compliance with the county and the NHL protocols and the county rules and regulations. And I don't want to speak to anything personal about any individual health situation, but I think as a team, I think we're in compliance of both the county and the NHL.
We don't know how this investigation is going to turn out or how long it's going to take, I guess, but do you have to kind of go about it like you might be with Evander at the start of the season?
Yeah, I think there is no time limit on it because I don't know about that, and I don't think there is, and I think that we got to plan as if what we have here is our team moving forward, and if something else happens or something's different after that, we can address that. But in the back of my mind, I'm already looking at line combinations for Anaheim and Vegas on Sunday, and some of the line combinations in practice and who's going to gel and who's going to have some chemistry early. And that obviously doesn't include Vander at this point in time with the investigation still pending.
What are some of the positional battles in camp that you're sort of most excited about?
Well, I think as you know, we have 6 returning D that are NHL D that played here last year, but there's going to be one of these guys that's going to get an opportunity to stick around, and maybe 2 7 or 8 D that we need. And up front on the forward line, I think there's a battle up the middle in that fourth line, center. I think that there's a ton of guys bringing in Bonino. I like you're looking at Cooch and Hernal and Bonino, and then underneath that, it's a big battle in that center position. And we have a lot of guys that can play both center and wing. I think there's going to be a battle to at least in 2 wing spots, a center spot on the fourth line, and the back end, and 1 or 2 defense spots.
Going through last year with COVID, just all the challenges, is there anything you learned that maybe has given you a new perspective on how you approach, maybe coaching or just in the game?
Good question. I think what I miss the most, and I think is the most impactful thing, is being able to address your team face to face in a group setting. And we never got to do that last year. I was running meetings off a computer, and everybody was spread out around the rink on iPads. And I think that's, even though it was effective sometimes, I think that we've lost the importance of being able to be in a group setting and a face to face. So, have I learned anything? I mean, we learned a lot last year, and it was just how to sort of manage our time separately. Especially when you're on the road and you're not being able to mingle or have any team dinners and things like that. It's just, the closeness and the bond that you form when you're together and you can have that interaction is really, it's irreplaceable.
You have 2 new goaltenders coming in this year with 2 Reimer and Hill brings to the ice that maybe you didn't have last year.
Yeah, I've had Rhymes before in Florida, and obviously when I was assistant coach here in San Jose before, and coaching against Hiller and seeing them on the ice here the last little while, I think the one thing I can say about these guys is they're both aggressive goalies and they're both fighters in the net, and I'm not saying we didn't have that before, but I think that energy and that presence of battling and fighting for every puck and fighting through traffic and things like that. I think that's going to seem to play just a little bigger, both guys, and I think that's going to help us. It sort of changes our attitude. We made a few tweaks to our system and a few minor changes, especially in the D zone. We want to be more aggressive, so I think we're looking to help our goalies a little more, spend less time on our end, and we've rolled that out a little bit today. So I think the combination of the two of these guys being aggressive goalies and being fighters, and us being a little more aggressive in the D zone, I think is going to help us overall as a team. Yeah, I haven't sat with Potsy yet, but I sat there and watched some of the fitness going on, and we had some stuff going here on the ice today. And the message was it's going to be the hardest camp these guys have had in a while, and it started today. I think you could see there's guys laying around after practice, and there's a purpose behind that. It's all these guys are in shape. But coming to camp, we want to make sure that our work ethic and our compete is through the roof, and we want to be able to sort of bring that out in training camp and practice and preseason, and make sure when the puck drops October 16th against Winnipeg that that's going to be our identity moving forward. There's going to be no nights where you're sitting there wondering what kind of team you're going to see. Win or lose, I want to have a certain level, a certain standard to compete.
How was it for you to have that conversation with Rocky about him having to lead the organization? What was that?
Yeah, it wasn't an easy conversation, and we knew these things were coming, and I think we all hoped that something was going to give and something was going to change. But at the end of the day, it was a personal choice by Rocky, and he knew the fallout that was going to come with it. And I respect his personal choice, I really do. And he was very understanding that we had to move in a different direction. We had to move quick. So everything was very transparent, and he was, there was a lot of conversation behind it. It was unfortunate. I think for him, obviously, I feel terrible for him, and I think that for us, we were in a situation 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago before camp that I was on the hunt for a new coach, and I'm lucky that a guy like John McLean was around. I think Johnny's got a lot of experience. That was the one box I wanted to check, and also someone that could help out on the power play. We need to improve there. And, I feel we've addressed both of those.
So with Rocky, it was his decision not to be vaccinated?
Yeah, his decision, yes. Personal decision, yeah.
What's the division of labor now between McLean and Madden as far as who runs what?
So we're going to shift John Madden back to run the defense. Everybody would probably say, well, why would you do that? John Madden, actually, people, if they don't know, was with Gerard Gallant in Florida, and he actually ran the D in Florida. And they had good numbers, good analytics. And so, that brings me comfort to know that he's already done that. I think we're going to divide and conquer it a little bit when it comes to practice and some individual stuff with the defense. I'm going to dig in a little more on that. Just because it's one, I love to do it, and two, that's sort of my bread and butter. John McLean will be up front with me with the forwards. Mads will be the PK. McLean will do the power play, and he'll be up working the forward side of the bench with me.
You alluded that you just mentioned John Madden running the defense before in Florida. How much does that, I guess, matter? Former forward, working with forwards, former defenseman working with
Yeah.
defenseman. That's sort of the perception, but.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, it's I don't think it's always the same from team to team. There's a lot of examples of guys that that were forwards that are running the D, but I think it's just for the details, the little things of the game. And the one great thing about John Madden, as we know, that's how he played his whole career as a detail guy, former Selke winner. And so if anything, he sees the game through a defensive mindset. So that brings me comfort working with the D. He's, me and him working together, plus his experience as a player and a coach, I have no worries how that's going to be.
When Chef comes back, you want him back with Eric?
Well, I think at times last year they both played well together, and I think we got to see how this plays out. I mean, we got, other guys that are going to be involved now with some injuries, and I think I'm looking at, a guy like Middleton and Milosh. I'm looking at a guy like, Hataka, Merkley, all these kind of guys. I want to see, how this sort of plays out in camp and who will be the partners. Hopefully Nish will be back sooner than later here.
Where did you get hurt? Was this related to a surgery?
No, this was not related to a surgery. This was just came to camp and something that's been nagging a little bit. And I think it's just, again, they're treating it as day to day, and I don't think it's going to be anything that's long term. No, I don't want to comment on that, Curtis. I think that, you know, I'll just let that play out for the next few days before I say anything.
So speaking of, you know, three big defensemen, Vlasic, Burns, and Carlson, are they coming to camp with that, you know, you mentioned that chip on their shoulder, you know, kind of, you know, knowing that, you know, they all maybe have something to prove this season?
Yeah, I think, you know, a few things. We've asked some guys to, you know, voluntarily come back early and be ready for the start of the season. And maybe, you know, last year with a couple of those guys you just mentioned, that wasn't the case. Carlson lived here also all in the offseason, didn't go home. And, you know, he was at the rink here almost every day training, and he looks good. He looks like he's in great shape. Same thing with Vlasic. He's come back earlier than he's ever come back. He started skating this summer earlier than he's ever skated before. So he's taken accountability in that area. And, you know, Burnsy's just a guy that, you know, you never have to worry about Burnsy with a little chip on his shoulder. He's got so much pride, and he just goes out and, you know, he plays the same way, same effort anyway every night.